I will never forget the sound of him laughing in the dark. I was 15 then, living in our small village of Igbokoda in Ondo State. Life was simple. Every morning I fetched water from the well. Every evening we told stories by the fire. Our village had one prince, Prince Tunde, and everyone feared him. People whispered that Tunde was wicked. They said he took things that didn't belong to him. Chickens, goats, even young girls. Some disappeared forever, but nobody dared speak aloud. One night, my mother sent me to my grandmother's house in Odirail. It was already dark, but I had no choice. I left quickly, hoping to reach there before it was too late. On the way, as I passed the big Iroko tree at the edge of the forest, I heard strange noises, a deep, nasty laugh mixed with crying. My legs froze. I held my breath and moved closer, my hands trembling. That's when I saw him. Prince Tunde was standing under the tree. A girl was tied at his feet, a girl from my village named Funke. Her mouth was gagged with a rag, and her eyes were swollen with tears. Tunde bent close and whispered, "The spirits are watching, Funke. Don't worry, you'll make me even richer." My stomach twisted. Funke whimpered, but she couldn't speak. Tunde raised a calabash full of something dark. The air felt cold, like someone had opened a grave. I took a step back. A twig broke under my feet. "Who's there?" Tunde hissed. My heart stopped. He spun around and stared straight into my eyes. His face looked like a wild animal. Eyes glowing, lips pulled back in a grin. Without thinking, I ran. My legs flew like fire. I heard him call after me, "You can run, but you can't hide forever." When I reached my grandmother's house, I couldn't breathe. Grandma grabbed my hands and pulled me inside. "You saw him, didn't you?" she whispered. "He feeds the dark spirits. That's why his power never ends." That was years ago. Funke was never found again. But even tonight, when the wind is strong and the moon is bright, I still hear that horrible laugh from the forest. Deep, evil, like someone who doesn't belong to this world. And I know, somewhere in the dark, he's still waiting. After that night, I could never live in peace again. I kept seeing Prince Tunde's glowing eyes in my dreams. I heard his deep, ugly laugh whenever I was alone. Even my parents noticed I had changed. "Why are you so jumpy these days?" my father would say, but I never told him. A few weeks passed, and everything felt too quiet in Igbokoda. Too quiet, like the village was holding its breath. Then one evening, I heard my mother crying in the kitchen. "Efe," she whispered when she saw me, "another girl is missing." My hands went cold. "Who?" I asked. "Your friend Chioma." At midnight, I heard footsteps outside my window, slow, heavy, like someone dragging their feet. My heart pounded as I crept to look, and there he was, Prince Tunde, standing in my compound. His face was painted white like a masquerade. A huge calabash was in his hands. He was humming an old ritual song I'd heard only once before, the song our chief priest sang during the Yam festival. He stared up at my window and whispered, loud enough for me to hear, "Efe, I see you." My knees gave way and I fell to the floor. By morning, my parents found me shivering like I had a fever. My father decided to take me to the village priest, Baba Okek, before it was too late. Baba Okek listened to my story without a word. When I was done, he took my hands in his and told me, "The prince is not just a prince. He is a servant to a dark spirit that walks in the forest. That spirit eats fear. That spirit drinks blood. That spirit has given him power." He leaned close, his eyes serious. "And now you have seen too much." That was when I knew. Prince Tunde would never leave me alone until I was gone like the others. That same evening, Baba Okeke gave me a small charm to wear around my neck. "Never take it off," he warned, "and do not sleep without a lamp." But even with the charm, my nights were long and full of strange whispers. Sometimes I'd see shapes by my door or hear someone breathing outside my room. And yesterday when I went to the market in Okitipupa, someone grabbed my arm. I turned around and saw him. Tunde, face hidden under a hood, he grinned. "You cannot hide forever," he whispered, before melting into the crowd like smoke. I am writing this now because I don't know if I'll live much longer. And if I disappear like Funke and Chioma, please believe my story. Prince Tunde is not just a man, and the dark spirit that follows him never forgets. The next few days felt like a bad dream. Everywhere I went in Igbokoda, I felt like someone was watching me. Nights were the worst. Even with the charm Baba Okeke gave me, I could hardly sleep. Then one evening, just after sunset, strange things began to happen. First, the chickens stopped clucking. Then the crickets went silent. Even the dogs that usually roamed the village had vanished. That's when I knew something was coming. Suddenly a strong wind started to blow. Doors and windows slammed shut all around me as villagers hurried inside. I stayed where I was, trembling, and then I saw him. Prince Tunde walked into the center of the village square, barefoot, his eyes glowing like burning coals. A crowd began to gather, people scared, whispering prayers under their breath. But Tunde just laughed, a deep, horrible laugh that made my skin crawl. "Tonight," he called out, voice like thunder, "I take my last offering." That was when Baba Okeke appeared, stepping out of the dark. "You have taken enough," the old priest roared. Tunde's smile disappeared. "You dare challenge me, old man?" Baba Okeke held up a staff carved with strange markings and began to chant. The air grew icy. Suddenly, the ground between them began to crack. And then, I will never forget this, a terrible, dark shadow rose up behind Prince Tunde. It wasn't human. Its body was long and twisted, its face like a mask with empty eyes and a mouth full of jagged teeth. It hovered around Tunde like a hungry snake. That was the dark spirit, the one that had given him power, and now it had come to take its final price. "Help me!" Tunde screamed as the spirit wrapped around him. Baba Okeke stood firm, his voice rising louder with every word he chanted. The spirit hissed and thrashed like it was on fire, and then, with a horrible bone-rattling sound, they both vanished into the ground. The silence that followed was like death itself. No one spoke. No one moved. I just stood there, my heart racing. That was the last time anyone saw Prince Tunde. By morning, even the cracks in the earth had closed up, like nothing had happened at all. But at night, when the moon is high and the forest is quiet, I swear I can still hear him screaming. And I know that whatever dark spirit Tunde called on is still down there, waiting for someone else foolish enough to summon it. That's why I'm telling this story, so you never do. Never call the dark, never answer its whispers, and never ever trust a prince who walks alone at night. And so, Prince Tunde was never seen again. The village moved on, but none of us ever forgot that night. The glowing eyes, the whispered chants, the ground breaking open. Still, on nights when the air feels too still and the dogs refuse to bark, people say they can hear him, crying beneath the soil, trapped forever with the dark spirit he thought he could control. Never call the dark.
If you enjoyed the story, please don't forget to hit the subscribe button. Please subscribe for more.